Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from our comfy couch here on the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon Reviews for September 20th, 2020, with your host, Peacemaker2448 and Rampant Epsilon.
Hi.
We got more build fighters. You know what's bad?
What?
I kind of have to fight myself from binging the show again. So I'm just like, oh, I want to watch more of them. Wait, what do you mean I can only watch 4 episodes a week? When I don't, whoops.
And watch 5 like you did this week.
Yes. Meaning I don't have to watch an episode this week. I only have to watch 3. Unless I just want to rewatch the episode.
I mean, you probably will.
True. But yeah, it's 5 through 8 this week. Just about rounding out the first half of the series with pretty much the pre-World Tournament stuff. Because the rest of the series is all World Tournament. Once I think we hit episode 10, I believe, is our first World Tournament episode, and then everything going forward is it's the entire World Tournament for the rest of the series. So there is a lot to get through. So weirdly, the first 9 or so episodes of the series is all set up. It's all set up, all introductions, but it is still entertaining, which is more than I can say for Saber. Which is doing the exact same thing.
I mean, to be fair, I feel like Saber has a lot of ghost in it.
True. You haven't watched episode 3, have you?
Nope. I, oddly enough, don't really have the drive to want to watch it.
I don't blame you, because this week has a real bad pacing issue. Of just kind of being all over the place.
And I kind of feel bad because I don't want to just drop it straight out the gate, because, let's be honest, game was kind of out there, but it turned out to be one of the best ones, in my opinion.
Well, the problem is, Gaim still had good qualities to it out the gate. Like, it didn't have the most interesting setup until we got into the later part of the series, but it's
to
still...
this, I'm gonna say I tried to rewatch at some point, and I kind of walked away from it early. And I'm like, I can see where people get a little aggravated. If you don't get beyond that initial gap, then yeah.
Okay, true.
Like, on a rewatch, I'm like, I know where this ends. Can I maybe just, like, skip?
I mean, you could just skip straight to fucking, I don't know, like, skip straight to the Christmas stuff. Like, skip all the introductions and just get right to the end.
And it's one of those. It's one of those that I can kind of understand why people are a little harsher on it, and I'm like, yeah, I'll give it to you. It kind of, for what it turns into, it kind of has a slow burn start.
Yeah.
But this feels like it's worse than that with Saber, and I'm like,
Because, like, just to, like, broad picture what happened in this week's Saber before we get into Build Fighters is, Spada shows up out of suit to be like, hi, I'm an old friend of Toma's, and hints at the fact of, Toma doesn't seem to remember me. Or our mutual female friends that we're not going to talk about. And just keep hinting at his backstory more. Which, Buster then immediately shows up in a just hard cut to fight scene, I think after the opening. And he does his introduction of, hi, I am father with son in big sword. And then the rest of the episode is just about him. It's like his intro.
Did it really break right there? I think it did.
Lord.
It did.
Yay. But there's that. Buster's kid's now missing. Also, do you like your form change debuts? Because this week was the debut of not only Saber Peter, but also Blades Peter, or technically like Lion Peter and Dragon Peter, because both of them use Peter Pan this week. Along with another appearance of Saber Jack and Buster's proper debut. But no Espada this week. No, that's next week with Dragon Hedgehog Jack, I assume. Because I don't think Saber's going to use Hedgehog on his own, but or on its own, but maybe he will. So that's 3 things in one episode. I don't know. It just feels like the episode just didn't really go anywhere. Oh, but we hinted at that Caliber is Espada's something, because we hard cut before they get to finish that sentence. So we know Espada has a relation to Caliber, but we don't know to what degree. Which is incredibly stupid.
Yep.
That is such a cheap-ass way to build a mystery of just like, yes, he's blah, 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 blah. Wait, what do you mean blah, 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 blah? What do you mean we're the only ones who don't get that information? Blatantly so. If you don't want us to have that information, fucking don't say it. Don't bring it up. So, especially so blatantly as this, like, fucking hell. So yeah, I'm giving it at least 2 more episodes. I'm giving it this week and the next week. And I'm going to see where the show is at. I'm going to assume, I guess, halfway through another 2-parter. Because I don't know if we're going to be at another 2-parter at episode 5. I swear to God, if we're at another fucking 2-parter, I might quit the show on principle. Because I'm just like, oh my God, I didn't even like this 2-parter. And we're doing another 2-parter? I need something more than this. Like, I don't mind my writer 2-parter episode shows, but like, fucking hell, at least have something interesting going on in that 2-parter to make me care. But yeah, I'm gonna give it like another 2 weeks and see where I am, and if not, I think I'm just gonna drop watching the show for a while and just check in every now and again to be like, what's happening and stuff, like perform changes and the like, and then just, hey, I'll just watch this. I'll just like be around in the Soda Pop Discord for when the blog post goes up, because I like the aesthetic of Saber and I like the form change stuff. Outside of how stupidly long it takes for him to do it,
it's just everything else.
Incredibly so. Because like Toma has nothing to him at the moment. May doesn't have anything to her at the moment. Rentaro doesn't really have anything to him at the moment. The only characters that might be interesting at the moment, I think, maybe Buster and Espada, now that Espada has fucking ties to the plot. But Toma's got nothing until he's actually like actively going like, wait, I don't remember things? Maybe I should try to remember things. I like he's actually trying to like get his memory back. He's got nothing for the show at the moment. So, Anything else before we move on to Build Fighters?
No, can't think of nothing.
Alright, so we got 5 through 8 this week. How'd you feel going into these 4 episodes?
I kind of was excited to get back into it, to be fair.
Well, in a rare instance, I had all of these watched on a Monday. instead of a Friday or a Saturday.
I wasn't that far ahead because I wanted to kind of keep it fresh, kind of deal.
Yeah.
That, and I feel like if I've got most of the week to just be sitting there, I'm either gonna A, rewatch the episodes before the end of the week, or B, wind up keeping on going. So
This is true. That might be why I need to not watch these episodes, to not watch the next 4 episodes tomorrow. Maybe I need to hold it off for like Thursday, Friday later in the week and just be like, all right, here's how I decompress.
Just to kind of keep you from doing it too early.
Yeah, because I've also watched like a part of the second to last episode of the series because it's a really good fight scene. Granted, it also is like, yeah, that's when, like, later in the series is when we start getting into the, all right, now we're just throwing out anime powers. Because fucking hell, that's how this works, I guess. I don't know. I don't know how all the super fancy special moves work in this series, outside of they just do. But to be perfectly honest, I don't care. I don't know how putting this into a toy translates it into thing that you can actually make happen in this system. Because I'm not entirely sure how that works.
Yeah. And I get the funny feeling that the show never explains it.
No, but I'm also okay with it because it's like, I don't need this explained because it's just gonna crack open like a whole can of worms about, okay, what's the limitations of this and stuff. If they just leave it nebulous, I don't care. I'm just like, it just is because it is. Because we just want these Gundams to do cool stuff, and I'm okay with that.
I mean, that's fair.
How can certain Gundams have super modes? Because they can. That's just it. They just can. And I'm just okay with that. Alright, so shall we get into the episodes itself?
I guess we shall.
Alright, we kick off with episode 5, The Strongest Builder. We open up on the road as a kid is hitchhiking a ride into town. This kid is Mao. We'll be introduced to him later. And he's paying for the ride with a Gundam kit because that's potential barter currency in this world, more or less. Here's a really good Gundam kit. This counts, right? This counts as service paid.
I love that you added potential.
Yeah.
Because of later.
Yeah. Look, we're rookie under old anime bullshit rules of, oh, this sport is so fucking in and everyone's on board that it permeates normal life. Well beyond what you're used to if you know actual sports. Like, well beyond there. But meanwhile, back over to the shop, Sei's inspecting Raoul's latest Gunpla, which is a really nice Zaku, I think. I don't remember the name of it. It's a really nice kit that is just meant to just be a nice display piece. It's not meant to fight, because that's a thing you can do with this. You don't have to build things to fight. You can just build things to build things. Also, +1 on the G Gundam references, because one of the shots when they're talking about replicating stuff from the shows, that's a G Gundam scene, because that's Burning Gundam. Which I stumbled upon a weird bit of trivia that I forgot about for the next Build Fighter series. So in the next series, the main Gundam is called Build Burning Gundam. That is an accidental reference to the G Gundam Burning Gundam.
That's funny.
Because because Burning Gundam is the name in the States. It's technically God Gundam in Japan. So when they named it Burning Gundam, they didn't know, or they was like, wait, it's called this in America? Oops. Because everyone thought it was intentional, because Build Fighters Try has a bunch of G Gundam references, especially to involving Build Burning Gundam. It's pretty much a big old, like, tribute to the original Burning Gundam in Shining Gundam from G Gundam, which are the main Gundams of that series. So in a weird way, it's a completely accidental, but totally makes sense reference. Anywho. Reggie wants to fight this new Gunpla, but he doesn't get it, and he doesn't like it, and he's confused by all this. But he'll get there, maybe.
Possibly. Probably not.
But that's when Ral talks about some legendary builder from up north, which is, of course, Mao. We'll get to him later. We also see that Mao is looking for Sei as well, because Builder wants to see Builder's work. But at this point, we're back over to Sei, and he's researching Mao. And I swear to God, the images he pulled up are actually like pixelated real images from a Google search. I think those are just real images. They've just pixelated the hell to make it look like they're not just real images we pulled off Google.
I mean, that would make sense.
Because they look too good to just be art. But Reggie drops in with a big old plate of food. And we get a little exchange with Sei being worried that, we made it so far, and we're up against Yuki if we get through the next round, but I don't think we have enough to beat him. And Reggie's like, we'll be fine. Fine. And he just leaves to go fight someone, leaving this food on Sei's bed, mind you. It's just left there, and I think Sei acknowledges because he gives him this look as he leaves. It's just like, really? You're just gonna leave this here? But this takes us over to Fellini, who is trying to pick up a girl with Gundam, and Reggie ruins it because, fuck you, I need to fight. Come fight me. We got better shit to do. And I love he outs himself as, shit, I use this all the time. And the girl's just like, nah, fuck you, bye. Attaboy Fellini. But we cut back over to Sei, as he continues to worry about fighting Yuki again. And this ends up taking us to the next day, where we find Mao lost in the city, looking for directions, and he ends up at a local cafe that China's father actually owns. And we follow, as we cut over to China and Sei, to the cafe, where we find Mao trying to barter paying for food with a Gundam. Bear in mind, not the whole meal, just part of it. Which means he did at least pay for some of it. So he does have money on him. But I guess not enough money.
I mean, makes sense.
Sei immediately recognizes the Gunpla, says it's really good. And I guess Cheetah just works it out, just be like, it's fine, Dad. Just let it go. We'll keep it. And give it a guitar and just sit it on the counter somewhere. Spice up the place a little bit, I guess. So Gina, Sei, and Mao are heading to the shop. Gina wants to work on her Gundam kit some more that she got a couple episodes back. With Sei at the shop. And at this point, as they're heading to the shop, Mal finally goes, "Wait, you're Say?" And then enters into his whole big spiel about Say is his rival, which elicits the best reaction of just Say going, "God damn it, why do I hang out with all weird people? Why is everyone in my life weird to some degree?" Which is incredibly true, to be honest.
Yeah.
But we cut back over to Fellini and Reggie for a little bit. We see more of Fellini's Gundam in action. I don't think we get like a big full reveal of everything it's capable of until the World Tournament. Which, by the way, he will be in the World Tournament. There's a reason he's sticking around so much. He's not just this random character.
I mean, that's the thought that you could put together early, but I think after one of the episodes, it's one of those, oh, no, he's going to be there.
Yeah. But him and Reggie fighting. Reggie's losing because he has garbage temp suit. I think it's actually the same Gundam that Fellini was trying to use to pick up that girl with.
Probably.
But this takes us over to the shop where Mao's looking at all the displays. All the display stuff, which doesn't really interest him because they're just standard stuff. Nothing's really custom about them. So he wants to see the good shit. So, for whatever reason, him and Say do some fucking Old West, like, quick draw to display their customs to each other. And then immediately get into fucking an imaginary battle with them to decide who has the better one. Bear in mind, while neither one of them are talking to each other.
Yeah.
Although they are talking to each other in their imagination. By the way, Gina and Renko are completely confused about this. Deservedly so. Also, of a note, Mao's master for the Gunpla school he's from apparently knows Say's dad. Because they duked it out a while back, I guess. And Say's dad, I guess, kicked his ass.
Apparently.
But yeah, we see Build Strike versus Gundam X Mao, which is Mao's Gundam, for a little bit. And I just had the note of, these two are absolute dorks for doing this. And it must be why I like this show, because I love my stupid dork protagonists and characters.
Which
and
is why you want to love Saber, but it's not giving anything.
No, because I'm like, okay, Saber is a stupid dumb dork, because when Buster introduces himself, he's just like, oh, Dad with sword and kid and traveler, story idea, must write down story idea. That's all he cares about. It's just like, oh, inspiration. I'm gonna turn this into a story. And I'm like, okay, I kind of dig that. But that's about it. Anyway. But we found out that Mao's Gundam is able to manipulate the Plafosky particles that make the Gundams move and stuff. And it lets him pull off the crazy nonsense shit he's going to be doing later. Because in the last episode, he says that there's something he can do that's a secret. But I believe this is the hint that pretty much tells you he's able to do it. It's something else entirely, kind of, but essentially this idea of manipulating the particles is, I think, the basis for everyone's stupid, dumb super mode bullshit. How you do this, I don't know. But everyone that has a super mode more or less gets to do this. But anyway, they duke it out. Mao finds out that Sade isn't the normal pilot. Reggie is. Before we can really see this continue, Rao just shows up out of nowhere being like, no, settle this on the battlefield of the World Tournament. And, well, Mao leaves. And we see Say and Reggie clean up at the regionals for their round, because
oh, please tell me Discord didn't just break right then. Why?
Hi.
Hi.
Alright, where did it break?
Like right before I said that kind of deal, the stuff you were saying right then.
Okay. So yeah, Ral showed up, told him to settle it at the World Tournament. So Mao ends up leaving. We cut the the next round for the regionals. Say and Reggie clean house, because everyone but the idol girl are jobbers, more or less. I think even Sasaki is technically a jobber, because I think he just guest appears later, but like the idol actually has like prominent appearances later. But yeah, they got Build Strike tune up. They're ready for Yuki! Except when it comes time for Yuki's match against Sanazaki, Yuki forfeited by not showing up. He forfeited like before the match started, which leaves Sei and Reggie fairly shocked and confused about this. Oh no. I hope you weren't ready to see them fight, because about that. How mad are you going to be that I'm going to tell you we don't get to ever see, I think, a full fight between them? A legit, straight up full fight between them. I think it technically takes till one of the battle log episodes for us to get a full fight between Yuki and one of the two of them. Because the closest we get actually till then is the fight in this next episode, episode 6, A Reason to Battle. Because they will fight again after this, but there's extenuating circumstances involving it, so it doesn't count. Anyway, episode 6, we kick off at the school where Sei trying to find Yuki, only to find him gone, and he's more or less out of school for a while, and out of the model building club, and he's more or less just gone off the grid. Completely. Which is very suspect. But later on, back at the shop, Reggie is just trying to play it off of like, it's fine, I don't care that much that Yuki's not here anymore. We're not fighting him. It's fine. It's totally fine. I'm not upset about it. You're upset about it. It's fine. I'm gonna go walk away. Which is more or less this entire conversation with Sei. It's like, I'm not mad, you're mad. I don't want to talk about it. So they're not on the best of terms at the moment. But once we get to regionals, for the semifinals, they pretty much obliterate Sanazaki, because they are completely pissed and confused, and they do not want to fight this jobber right now. So, bye-bye, Sanazaki. I think that's the last time you get a fight in the series. I'm sure you're disappointed.
Not really.
But yeah, after the fight, Reggie just runs off looking for food, while Sei's left to repair Build Strike after the battle. And this is when Ral takes notice of just that how unsatisfied the two of them are with the current state of affairs, especially Reggie, because it's like, hey, I was looking forward to a really good fight, and now I don't get really good fight. I are sad. But now we get to catch up with Yuki, because he's at PPSE, which is the company in charge of all the tech and stuff. This is kind of our first introduction to them properly. Kind of. But anyway, we see Yuki take Hizaku through a training course to show off his skills, and he's apparently top of the candidates to take the title of Meijing, which is a super important title that I don't know what the importance of is in this series. Outside of it exists. And he's going to be the third one. I assume this is a Gundam reference I'm not getting.
Probably.
Because I think when they do explain the significance of the title, it is literally in like the third to last episode of the series. I think. I might be wrong. It might be a little sooner than that. But it takes them a while to explain this for those of you who are not Gundam fans and understand what the fuck this thing means. Anyway, more or less cinching his right to the title, Yuki heads out to finish business before he takes it up and becomes this title and identity, and doesn't become Yuki anymore, because that's just how this works. But we cut over to Gina, who's dropping by the shop with her Gunpla to get some painting done, and her and Sei talk about Reggie and the whole situation. But Sei's hoping that things will turn around, and they eventually do, because we catch up with Reggie as Rao catches up with him and imparts some wisdom about the whole Gunpla situation of, yeah, it's not life or death like the shows are, but that means we could take it seriously and have fun with it instead of, it being a life or death situation. Which makes sense. So this bounces Reggie back a little bit, but it helps even more that Yuki shows up because he wants a fight. So he rushes back to the shop, and Sei already knows before Reggie even says what's going on. It's just like, yep, we're going to fight Yuki. Let's go. Because she gets to just tag along and just be a part of the series, even if she's not a fighter. We're not as much as the others are. We'll get to her proper episode later in next week's batch. Oh, Mouse? Mouse, where'd you go?
Mouse disappeared.
Mouse was not cooperative. Anywho, the three of them head out. They find Yuki at the gym of the school. And now they are going to duke it out without really explaining why everything went down. They're just going to let the fight answer all of that, because that's just how this series is. We're not going to explain things. We're going to let this fight explain things. And besides, we're only here to fight, really. That's just what it is. So the two of them duke it out, and it is a fucking slugfest between them. They tear literal chunks out of each other's gunplas. To the point that the build strike is down to just its backpack mode. And Yuki is forced to use his jet mode of his Gunpla that Port Swarms. That is just a thing that happens, and we don't talk about it anymore, because he's not going to have this Gunpla going forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, they rip chunks out of each other to that point. And also, Fellini is here to watch because, damn it, I fight Reggie too much to not be interested in the fights he gets into. And also, Yuki's pal, Alan Adams, who's an engineer for PPSE, is also here to watch this and is like, this is why you care so much about them. I get it. I get the fighting going on here. But yeah, the two jet modes clash. We just get a big blinding explosion, and we don't technically see the end of the fight, but from dialogue later, we know that Sei and Reggie lost. apparently definitively, even though it seems fairly tied. So yeah. I would not call it a complete loss. Oh well. But we see our protagonists here split up. Yugi heads off to claim his title, whereas Sei and Reggie now go off to the final round of the regionals. Except Build Strike is completely demolished. It is kind of unusable for the final round. Thankfully, Sei has a backup, and we're introduced to the Build Gundam Mark II. And they'll be using that in the final round as we end the episode there. But before it properly ends, we get introduced to a girl who is watching footage of the fight as it's happening and knows immediately that the Mark II is going to win. For some reason that we'll get to later.
Yeah.
But that's our first two episodes. How'd you feel about them?
I felt like it kind of did the thing we needed it to do in basically giving both sides the close that they needed.
Yeah.
Without causing, us to lose either sets of characters with this. So I kind of like that. Because I feel like they almost painted themselves into a hole and then they had this out kind of deal.
Yeah, it's just like, well, they have to fight each other for this regional tournament, but we're not going to technically give you that fight just yet. And we honestly won't, because unfortunately the series has this instance of, well, Sei, Reggie, and Yuki are going to fight, but we're not going to see the final conclusion of those fights when it's the proper fights. When it's not the proper fights, we will show you the end.
Which that might be a whole nother problem all on its own, but meh.
Yeah. Honestly, if we get a proper fight between Sei and Yuki in the Battlelog side story miniseries, and we also get, interestingly enough, since I did watch it recently, a Sei versus Reggie fight in GM's Counterattack. But all of that plays into the end of the series, which we'll get there in a few weeks or so. But yeah, like it's one of those cases of, okay, these are our two main protagonists. This is how we set them up. This is how we set up this rivalry. And here is how we also continue to set up all of these characters that are going to be the mainstays in our main through characters for the rest of the series. And also really showcase the passion involved with this, which is what I loved about the series of, you may have exactly zero interest in Gundam, but this is a series all about people having passion about Gundam and showing how they have passion in Gundam. And I can't help but smile at the sincerity of it all. Even if it's all meant to just sell these model kits to you.
Fair.
But anyway, anything else before we hit the last two?
Nope.
Alright, so we pick up with episode 7, World Levelability. So we're back into the finals in progress as Sei and Reggie now have to deal with some schmuck who has a bunch of mini Gundams that he sends after them. But unfortunately, the Mark II is far stronger than them, so he obliterates all of the little Gundams. And as the Gundam as the main one tries to charge up its big moon satellite cannon, which I believe is also the same moon satellite cannon that Mao's is, because I think they're both the same base kit. I might be wrong on that. It might be a terrible assumption on my part. But I think it's the same thing, which is foreshadowing for later. But before he can fire his main weapon, the Mark II gets close. It just blows it away. So, yay! Sei and Reggie are regional winners and move on to the World Tournament. Or get their ticket to the World Tournament. So, for winning this, they get to take a trip to a hot spring. The two of them, Renko, Ral, who's here to drive them because Ral just tags along with them, I guess. Ral's just where he needs to be to do his exposition thing, I guess.
Pretty much, yeah.
And also be incredibly connected to people. Which makes me go, Ral, what the fuck is your story? Because I swear you have a story to you with how many people you know. Because you know a lot of people. And also, Gina is here because, well, they had 5 tickets. Let's invite Gina. And also, Renko continues to try to ship her with her son. I love how much she's just like, no, you get with my son, damn it. I want grandchildren. Before they head off to the hot spring, they spend the day at the beach and relax. And Reggie gets slapped for his fucking for his dense attitude of stuff. Poor guy. But after the day at the beach, they check into the hot spring, which is a bit run down. It's not the best looking place. But they also find Mal there because he's still there, I guess, because he really likes the one girl who works there. By the way, she's just gonna be a reoccurring background character now.
Well then.
Yeah. Like, this is not just a one-off thing. No, she's just here for the rest of the show now. But we find out through Mal that a bunch of other people who have qualified for the World Tournament has been through here and have left. So, I guess continuing to show how big the World Tournament is, which we'll get to at the end of the next episode. But the girl Mal has a crush on welcomes them, and everyone gets settled in, with Renko sending off Gina once they're settled in to go hang out with Say some more. Go hang out with him. Go get me grandchildren. Damn it. And thankfully, Ral and Reggie leave just in time for her to show up, and the two of them hang out and just talk Gunpla stuff for a little bit. Until Reggie is down in the lobby. As a fucking car gets driven through the front door. Literally through the front door. By a bunch of loan shark guys who want the property and want them out and are willing to just destroy the place to do so. Because they've already destroyed some of it, but Bao's been working to repair a bunch of it, because if you know how to build a Gunpla, you know how to glue a statue back together, I guess.
I could say it.
I'm not sure that's how that works, but okay, sure. But yeah, this happens. Reggie is almost killed in this, by the way, because if he didn't dodge in time, he would have been ran over by that car. So he's naturally pissed when everybody gets to the lobby, and he wants to throw hands with these dumbasses. But Reggie is held back because I guess we don't want him to go to jail today. Specifically him, I guess, instead of the load sharks who drove a truck through the front door of this inn. The literal front door of this inn.
Yep.
But at this point, Ral interrupts this by what's more pulling his I know people connections of going, hey, I know the guy who's the head of these loan sharks. You used to be a good fighter. What the fuck happened to you? Why are you doing this? Stop being an asshole. And this eventually leads to Say and Bao landing on, hey, fight us for the end. If we win, you leave them alone. If you win, you take the end. Like, no hassle. And the girl agrees to this because she trusts Bao, so we get a fight. So it's the Mark II and the Gundam X-Val versus this guy's giant ship robot thing. Does this count as a Gundam? Because it's just a giant spaceship.
I mean, they counted, so I guess.
I get it's just a giant spaceship. That's all it is. It's a giant spaceship.
Yep.
It's a giant spaceship with a big old fuck off laser that also has a big old shield to it that they can't shoot through because it disperses the particles and stuff. So they can't get damage through. So after the two of them are backed into a corner, the ship ends up releasing an acid that starts melting the Gundams. And then he catches the two of them in electric cages that I think speeds up the acid. I assume that's what's happening. I don't remember if they completely explained what was happening.
I don't think they did.
Okay, good. But anyway, the Mark II's pretty much done for this fight, which leaves it to Mao to pretty much shoot through the cages and just be incredibly pissed by all this and go, you know what? Fuck you. I'm turning on my super mode. Because his Gundam requires the moon to be out so he can charge his big old fuck off laser. But he's like, nah, I can just charge the laser whenever I want and shoot it, and you can go fuck yourself. Because that's my super mode. So he does so, blowing a hole in the ship so the Mark II can blow the rest of it up now that they have a hole to shoot into. So it goes boom, they win. Raul makes sure that they keep their word because Raul's word is law, I guess, in the circle of people he knows.
Apparently.
Which, again, makes me go, the fuck is your story? What did you do, old man? I want to know your story. Because I don't think we ever get his full story. So we wrap up with Mao leaving, keeping how he pulled his big move a secret, which, again, the show's already kind of thrown the hint the way of, yeah, his school teaches how to manipulate the particles. So I assume it is a case of, oh, he just absorbs the particles directly and that powers the super mode. So fuck you, I don't need it. I literally use the thing that fuels these Gundams to make my big old fuck off laser. But we end the episode proper with Yuki looking over his new Gundam that is not the Zaku Amazing, but instead is the Camphor Amazing. It's a big old black robot that's not red because I don't know why, more or less. So that takes us to our last episode of the batch. Episode 8, Encounter of Fighters. We start off with a flashback following Niels Nielsen, a researcher, talking about Plavsky particles and how they move around Gundams and stuff. And he wants to know what their deal is because we find out that they bond antimatter, is what he said. It's sciencey nonsense to be like, this is really cool. Why is this only being used for toys? I want to know the secret so we can do really cool shit with this. But it's tight-lipped, so I'm going to get into the Gundam world to find the secret of these particles so we can do really cool shit with this. Pretty much. That's Niels Nielsen's entire motivation. But we flash forward a month later, and we follow Fellini meeting with, I believe, the U.S. champ? Because I think they're in America. Because I swear where they go to later is Madison Square Garden, but it's named something else in reference to Gundam. But it's Madison Square Garden in New York. But he's meeting with Ricardo, wanting to fight him at the World Tournament, and Ricardo's in his final match. But he's up against Niels Nielsen, so he's not winning. Also, out of curiosity, did you recognize Ricardo's voice actor?
Don't think I did, actually.
He's voiced by Kiryu from Yakuza.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I can see it now that you mentioned that.
Yeah, I started having the moment of just like, wait a minute. You sound way too much like Kiryu in some of these scenes. Are you Kiryu's voice actor? Double check. Yep, you're Kiryu's voice actor. Damn it, I wish you were here around more, because I need you to yell at people when you're beating them up with your Gundams. Because Kiryu fits in this world, to be honest, because Kiryu's as much as a dork as anyone else in the series, to be honest. But anyway, while we see Niels researching Ricardo and he decides to pull out his big fancy Gundam for this fight, we meanwhile over to Yuki, who's testing out the Camper Amazing. And this is when we get told about another team that is competing in the World Tournament, and that's Team Nemesis. And that's where we pick up from where we were a while ago with the girl who is being tested to be the new pilot for Team Nemesis, because she has special abilities from this institute thing that she's from. We'll get to what those abilities are later when she gets properly introduced, but this is all set up for the World Tournament this episode, so I hope you are okay with a lot of cutting around. Because we do that a lot this episode.
It definitely felt like this episode was meant for that, so I was kind of fine with that.
Yeah. Like, I believe Niels and Alia are our last two main fighter introductions that we need to get out of the way. And that's why they get the main fights for this episode. Which I'll get to that later, but yeah, they're the last two that need to be introduced. So they kind of get the spotlights this episode. But we meanwhile back over to Sei, who's working on a new Gunpla for the tournament and trying to take inspiration from the recent encounters he's had.
Did you go quiet or did Discord break? God.
Hi. So where did I get cut off?
Like literally right when I said that.
Yep, okay. So we meanwhile back to Sei, who's working on a new Gunpla for the World Tournament. And more or less, he's trying to figure out, okay, everyone's got their fancy bullshit tricks. We need a super mode. How do I make a Gunpla with a super mode? That is the short and long of this that you need to get, because pretty much the next build strike version we're going to be dealing with will have a super mode. A really fancy super mode, mind you. But after this, we cut back to Alia as she's using some random Gundam to dismantle the main bad guy from G Gundam. Because that's that Gundam, which is Devil Gundam. Or Dark Gundam in the US. But yeah, that's the main bad guy from G Gundam, and she just dismantled it in 5 seconds without fucking sweating it. But she passes, and now she's being set up to take on last year's world champ, which we'll get to at the end of the episode. But we cut back to Ricardo, who's facing Niels. Niels is busting out the Sengoku Astray Gundam, and more or less dismantles Ricardo easily, because he has wave attacks on his swords. So, that's not good. And also, he can freeze Gundams and then obliterate them with a big old punch to the face. So Niels punches his ticket for the world tournament and earns Fellini as an enemy now, because Fellini is now going to be upset that he doesn't get to face his friend at the world tournament. So I think he's going to be gunning for Niels for the beginning of the world tournament for a while, if I remember right. But at this point, we see a couple other more or less background fighters punch their tickets from around the world for the world tournament, just to kind of flesh out the people that we need voices to and aren't technically jobbers. We gotta flesh out those rounds so people have people to fight. But we land back with Sei as he continues working on his new Gunpla, but can't seem to find a way to make the super mode. But we end the episode proper with Raoul checking into the Netherlands? No, the Finland regional tournament, where the world champ is competing. But he is too late, as he finds that the world champ has been destroyed by Alia in a matter of minutes. So Alia's in the tournament now. And that is the 2 episodes. So how'd you feel about these 2?
I think for what they were going for doing, I liked it. It almost felt like they probably could have gotten away with doing 2 episodes for this, though.
But then we don't get an entire episode dedicated to China.
I mean,
like literally an entire episode just to her. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Because, like, Cheetah's more or less just going to be a supporting character for the rest of the series, for the most part. But her getting an entire episode dedicated to her, just, and playing on her continued, like, interest in Gundams, and, say, building their relationship and stuff, like, having an entire episode being a nice, like, checkpoint for all that. I'm okay with this not being expanded into 2 episodes, because, to be honest, only the 2 characters we got introduced to this episode that had lines and work done matter. Because those other guys that got introduced in, like, the quick cuts, they're just opponents for our main characters to deal with, and that's it. They're no one special. They're walls to be climbed. But yeah, I enjoy I really enjoy the series. Which I have to think says a lot for someone who only has a passing familiarity with G Gundam, and that's my only point of reference for Gundam as a franchise, is the really weird offshoot one that isn't about war and the horrors of war, that is literally just a kung fu movie made in Gundam. And I really love this series, and it's not just referencing G Gundam, it's referencing all this other stuff. So yeah, it just really works, and I love it. And I can't wait for us to watch more. But you got anything else?
I can't really think of nothing.
All right, then. This next week, I guess I'm testing out the Plando Wednesday. See how that goes. I probably won't do it all if it takes more than like 2 hours or so.
Well, okay. I ran through it knowing where everything was. I think what I told you should be enough to kind of guide you the right directions.
Mm-hmm.
And like hour 45 I was done with it. So okay. Maybe 2 hours, 2.5 tops kind of deal.
Alright, that's fine. As long as it's not like 3.5.
It shouldn't be. I'll put it that way. It shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm. But that, I guess Radiant Dawn's being moved to Thursdays just to keep that consistent going forward, regardless of what the work schedule is. Friday, we'll continue Minecraft. Saturday is something?
I don't know.
Yay. Sunday will be us continuing Build Fighters and whatever rando things you are doing on your channel. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Monday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, okay.
Which Monday is going to be hopefully charting out a desert for us in Minecraft.
Yeah, we kind of need that.
I might also try to chart us out the end portal to where we know where that's at too. Like if I do that, I won't go exploring it. I'll just literally pop in, put a waypoint there, pop out. Because I don't want to try to get too much information from right there. Because there can be like 3 or 4 ender pearls within there. So I kind of don't want to do that unless I've got both of us there. Then we can just kind of go through it. But I might at least kind of chart out where it's at and then go from there. I don't know for the other two. I might do another KH2 rando. I don't know. And Thursday I might do some more Ninjala.
Ooh.
Like I said on one of the streams this past week, provided ODST comes out quick enough, I might do that Tuesday over here. It will be essentially 2 playthroughs, so it'll probably be 4 weeks of content there, which will work. If you can't continue Wednesdays, it'll just get pushed over to there.
Yeah. Maybe I'll find out tomorrow. I don't know. I'll wait and see.
But
feels like one of those I'm not going to find out till like Friday.
Yeah. What it's kind of feeling like, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah. And I mean, everything's subject to change. Just gonna put that out there.
The good news is Radiant Dawn won't take too much longer. We might knock out all of part 2 Wednesday or Thursday. Might, mind you. I'm not super sure on that. Because part 2 is relatively short compared to the others. Let me pull up. I was about to say, give me that chapter list real quick. Because part 2 is 5 chapters. And we've already done one of those. So we're down to 4 chapters for part 2. So we might be done with the entirety of part 2 Thursday. And probably the first chapter of part 3. Introducing Ike and stuff before we move into part 3. Which part 3 is actually the longest part of the game. Because it's 15 chapters. Even part 4, which is the end game, is only 10, 11, 12 chapters. So, we'll be knocking out part 2 Thursday. I'm willing to bet. Unless cutscenes make it too long. Which it might. So yeah, if you like what you've seen, drop a follow. Really appreciate it. Chipping away at that affiliate goal. At TG's on Twitter gets you updates when we go live next. Discord and chat gets a Discord link. Drop by, say hi. We got Dropbox questions. We could really use them. So we see you next week, folks.